The Italo-Ethiopian Crisis of 1935 Causes and Impact. Introduction. The year is 1935. Italy, led by Benito Mussolini, has set its sights on Ethiopia, a sovereign African nation. What led to this invasion? What were the consequences for Ethiopia, Italy, and the world? Welcome to today's lesson on the Italo-Ethiopian Crisis of 1935, a pivotal moment in global history that exposed the failures of international diplomacy and fueled the flames of World War II. Causes of the Italo-Ethiopian Crisis. To understand why Italy invaded Ethiopia, we need to look at several key factors: political ambitions, economic challenges, and international weaknesses. Italian desire for revenge. Back in 1896, Italy suffered a devastating defeat at the Battle of Adwa. Ethiopia, under Emperor Menelik II, crushed the Italian forces. This humiliation stayed with Italy for decades. Mussolini saw Ethiopia as unfinished business, a chance to erase the embarrassment of Adwa and restore national pride. Mussolini's imperial ambitions. By the early 20th century, European powers had carved up most of Africa. Britain, France, and Belgium controlled vast colonies. But Italy? It had little compared to its rivals. Mussolini wanted an empire, and Ethiopia was one of the last independent nations in Africa. Conquering it would solidify Italy's status as a global power. Economic pressures in Italy. Italy was struggling. Unemployment was rising, and industries were stagnating. Mussolini believed that Ethiopia's land and resources could help. He imagined an Italian colony filled with settlers, producing goods for the homeland. In his eyes, conquering Ethiopia wasn't just about power, it was about survival. Weakness of the League of Nations. Mussolini wasn't worried about international backlash. Why? Because the League of Nations had already failed to stop other aggressors. In 1931, Japan invaded Manchuria, and the League did nothing. Mussolini believed he could do the same in Ethiopia without consequences. The Wall incident, a pretext for war. The final spark came in December 1934. At a small desert outpost called Wall, Italian and Ethiopian troops clashed. Mussolini seized the moment. He claimed Ethiopia was the aggressor and launched a full-scale invasion in October 1935. The impact of the invasion. The consequences of the Italo-Ethiopian crisis rippled across the world. Let's look at what happened next. Italian occupation of Ethiopia. After months of brutal fighting, Italy declared victory in May 1936. Haile Selassie, Ethiopia's emperor, was forced into exile. Mussolini boasted that Ethiopia was now part of Italian East Africa. But the story didn't end there. Rise of Ethiopian resistance. Though Italy controlled Ethiopia's cities, the people never accepted defeat. Ethiopian fighters launched guerrilla attacks, refusing to surrender their homeland. This spirit of resistance would later play a crucial role in Ethiopia's liberation. Failure of the League of Nations. The League of Nations imposed sanctions on Italy, but they were weak and ineffective. Britain and France, fearing Mussolini would align with Hitler, avoided conflict. The world watched as the League failed yet again. Strengthening of fascist aggression. The success in Ethiopia made Mussolini bolder. His alliance with Hitler grew stronger, and together, they pushed Europe closer to World War II. Ethiopia's legacy in anti-colonial movements. Ethiopia's fight against Italy became a symbol of African resistance. When Ethiopia regained independence in 1941, it sent a message: colonial rule was not invincible. The struggle of Ethiopia inspired independence movements across Africa in the decades that followed. Key takeaways in conclusion. To sum it up, the Italo-Ethiopian Crisis of 1935 was more than just an invasion, it was a turning point. It showed the failure of international diplomacy, strengthened fascist aggression, and became a symbol of resistance for colonized nations. Although Italy occupied Ethiopia for a few years, the Ethiopian people never gave up. Their fight for freedom would inspire a new wave of independence movements across Africa. Review questions. Now, let's test your understanding. Think about these questions. What were the main causes of the Italo-Ethiopian Crisis? How did Mussolini justify the invasion? Why did the League of Nations fail to stop Italy? How did Ethiopia's resistance shape African anti-colonial movements? Take a moment to reflect on these questions. You can even write your answers down or discuss them with others. Drop your answers in the comments below. Note to students. Remember, this video is here to support your learning, but your teacher is your best guide for deeper understanding and discussions. Keep asking questions, stay curious, and apply what you've learned. Like and subscribe. If you found this lesson insightful, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Your support helps us create more high-quality educational content. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next lesson. Disclosure. This content was produced with the assistance of AI tools, with human review and editing to ensure accuracy and clarity.